Let's see what CC's up to.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's April 4/1/21. Welcome, guys. Did you get out of that deep, dark winter? I bet you did, huh? Everything all right? No casualties? You know, I feel sorry for the sleepers, as I was once among them too, but not in the way that you would think, in kind of a different way, knowing that something is wrong, but yes, there was nothing there to really, well, I'm just saying I was there, but I do feel sorry for the sleepers. It must be exhausting being them right now.
He is
Especially
saying
now.
He is saying he's woke. He uses the term woke to mean flat earthers.
You know, before you only really had to worry about earthquakes and meteors and possibly an alien invasion. Or
You're worried about an alien invasion? Like for realsies?
or some world war.
I think I saw a documentary once where Jeff Goldblum in the 90s saved us with an internet virus, so I think we're fine.
Or some other nonsense that you could think of that, or the media will think of, because they can't think for themselves. They need the media to think for them. That's the problem. Anyway, it must be really exhausting now, because they're just scaring, and I'm talking about the media, the shit out of everybody with coming up with, well, at least here in New York, I don't know what it's like in your state, but they just keep trying to scare the shit out of people now. Other variants of this. Many others. Many others.
Yeah, that's what happens with diseases when they spread from person to person. They mutate, and different things happen when they mutate. It can become more virulent, it can become more deadly, all sorts of different things. That's how evolution works.
Now they're saying 3 out of 4 people have a variant. So the sleepers are really going to feel good going back down to NYC, right? Yeah, my ass. They say there's only 10% of the workers are working there right now. 10%! Do you know what that means? That means the city is a ghost town.
Okay, that's probably good. New York City is one of the highest density areas in the country, if not the highest. I haven't actually looked into it, but let's see. Most densely populated U.S. cities. Looks like, yeah, all the most densely populated areas in the country are in New York City, which is really, really bad for a pandemic or any sort of virus like this, because the closer in proximity you are to other people for longer periods of time, the higher likelihood something's going to spread, not just from one person to another, but throughout the community as a whole. So yeah, it's good that fewer people are interacting with other people in New York City, a center where, of course, it can get really, really bad. Makes sense.
There's nothing going on. And they keep scaring the shit out of people over and over and over again. And they buy it. Which goes back to, it must be exhausting being them. I mean, really, I'd be pulling my hair out. I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, are those gloves safe?
Chris, you think it's stressful being a normal person living in the reality of a global pandemic? You think the world is flat and that everyone is lying to you. That's gotta be stressful. Not that the amount of stress has anything to do with the reality of the situation, but it's just weird to me that that's your criteria. Chris, it is stressful living in the middle of a global pandemic. It is, but it's also reality. You don't get to tune out of reality just because you find it stressful.
Are the face masks safe?
Yes.
Is any of it safe?
Yes.
Are you washing your hands 65 times a day?
I'm washing my hands when I go out or use the bathroom like a normal person. Are you not washing your hands, Chris?
What about your nose? Are you putting anything inside your nose, like an alcohol swab, perhaps? Because
What? That's definitely not something that's recommended for multiple reasons, up to and including it would dry out the membranes of your nose, which I would imagine would not be good for you. Hello?
Did he just ask if people are putting alcohol in their noses?
Yeah. I feel like that would probably make you more susceptible to a virus because it would dry out the membranes and, like, lead to, like, cracks and shit.
It would make you really, really, like, uncomfortable.
Yeah, it would be bad.
You're not supposed to huff alcohol.
No. Maybe that's what Chris has in his little vape. Maybe he vapes alcohol all day.
That's like how you kill yourself.
Yeah. It's better than boofing. But hey, if it's good enough for a Supreme Court justice. Love you.
Love you.
Things to get inside the naval cavity. Are you protecting yourself from that? Have you taped your doors? Have you taped your windows? It must be exhausting being them, not being able to breathe the air and thinking that it's poisonous. It must be exhausting. It must be exhausting. What about water? What about the pool? What about the ocean?
You should not be swimming in a public pool right now. I imagine they're closed anyway, but no, Chris, you should not go swim in a public pool right now.
You know, I get nervous about the hypodermic needles that are floating around Jones Beach. When every once in a while, you know, a boat, a hole or something like that happens, and then all of a sudden all this dumping ground for hypodermic needles and shit like that. That's what I worry about at the beach.
Okay, you can worry about more than one thing at once, you know that, right? Like, if a beach was empty and there's no one else around, you're fine. I think a while back, Jake and Sarah, some months ago, went on a little, like, vacation up north, but they weren't around any other people. It was them and their dog Darwin, and they went to an empty beach and just hung out for the day. And that's fine, right? They weren't around other people at any point during their trip. But if you're going to a beach with a bunch of other people around, again, densely populated beach, that's an issue because person-to-person transmission is a concern. It's not the beach itself, Chris. It's the potential for transmitting a disease from person to person.
But what about the water? Is it safe? Is any of the water for that matter, safe? Because I got news for you. Your water's coming from the reservoirs that are completely open to air.
Yes, they are. Do you understand how anything works? How do you think this works? I'm so confused.
Air. The air that we breathe. Apparently we can't anymore, but it's the air that we breathe. But it's funny because things do have a curfew. You know, it's just...
The curfew is so people don't go out to, like, bars and stuff, and restaurants, and to make sure they aren't, like, getting 3 a.m. booty calls to go, I don't know, Tinder date or whatever.
Exhausting. It must be exhausting being a sleeper right now. I don't even know how they can function. They must just... They should just go back to sleep. Just go back to bed. Go back to bed, just sleep. Sleep for another 6 months.
That actually sounds great. Can someone tell me how to do that? I'll Rip Van Winkle my way into the rest of the year.
Maybe it might be over in 6 months. I don't know. Maybe things might be back to normal.
Probably. We're actually doing pretty good in terms of vaccination in the U.S., despite these idiots. Let me take a look. How many people in the U.S. have been vaccinated? A third of U.S. adults have received at least one dose of the vaccine. That's excellent. Like I said, I'm getting my first dose on Friday, at which point I'll make my appointment for the second dose. That's good. Hopefully in around 6-9 months, things will be getting back to normal. That'd be excellent. That'd be wonderful, Chris. And it'll be no thanks to idiots like you. You will do nothing but extend how long it takes because you refuse to take medicine like an adult.
I highly doubt it on the rate that we're going. But it must be exhausting being them. And I emphasize that. What about the clouds? How far is the air poisonous? Can we go up 40,000?
Chris, the air itself isn't poisonous. It's the potential particulates in the air that get breathed out by people who aren't wearing masks. People like you. So it's not the actual... How do I put this? It's not just the air that's floating around randomly outside. It's not going to stick around that long. It's when you're in a close quarters with someone, like in a Walmart or some other store, and people are breathing very close to you, and they breathe out particulates into the air if they're not wearing a mask or wearing it improperly, and then those particulates end up in your face holes because those particulates have potential to carry the virus. That's the issue. But, like, if you go outside, you're probably fine, provided you're not, like, directly next to someone and breathing into their face. It's good.
1,000 feet? 25,000 feet? Is it coming from the ocean? Is it
No.
here in your apartment?
Probably not, if there isn't someone also in there who also has it.
What about the HEPA filters? Have they been tested?
I honestly have no idea.
We haven't heard much about the HEPA filters in the planes, have we? Are they still safe?
I don't know. You probably shouldn't be traveling via plane right now if you don't absolutely have to anyway, and you should be wearing a mask if you're on a plane.
With the variant? These are all questions sleepers should have, because it's very serious. And these are all problems that you have to deal with. All questions that should be brought up to a professional.
Many of which have been, but you don't believe professionals? So, kind of a disingenuous question, isn't it?
And who do you have to talk to?
Doctors. Doctors? Doctors. About this? Doctors. Doctors? Doctors.
Dr. Fauci? Where is he now? I haven't heard from him in a while.
Okay, let's see. Here's an article from one day ago, where it's a statement from him yesterday. Here's a statement from 2 hours ago. Here's from an hour ago, a day ago, 10 hours ago. Did you take even 5 seconds to look this up, or you just saying stuff? Because, you know, you can have the ability to make words come out of your mouth, but if those words are based on absolutely nothing true, then you're just bullshitting, and you don't want to do that. It's not good for your credibility.
Is he still around? We care about one thing, and that's flat Earth. This is nothing. This is...
Apparently viruses don't exist on the flat Earth or something. It's so weird because the two are not mutually exclusive. Like, you shouldn't believe the Earth is flat because it isn't, but even if you did, nothing about flat Earth says that diseases don't exist. The germ theory of disease would still be a thing.
Something that's been put out there for the sleepers. Back in 9/11, the demolition.
Isn't Trump supposed to be president tomorrow? I think Peter did do a video about that. He never put that at, like, a high chance or anything, but that was one of the dates he said yes.
They did come up with one rule in New York that everybody abided from, and you pretty much didn't have a choice, and that was your driver's license. You had to show your driver's license to everybody around. That's it. You wanted to go into a building, court building, or anything like that.
Yeah, they're contact tracing.
Sometimes even a library, or a school for that matter. You had to show your driver's license. You had to show your ID. You see, now that was 20 years ago, okay? And everybody bowed down to it because we had no choice. See, now the next phase is now going to kick in, okay?
Oh my god, the Droogs from... I don't know if you guys saw the Space Jam 2 trailer, but they're putting a lot of Warner Brothers properties in it. Like, there's the Night King from Game of Thrones over there. There's some zombies, generic cowboys. There's a dinosaur from the Flintstones. Looks like Captain Caveman is up on the post. We got the Scooby Gang. The Mystery Inc. up on their mystery machine. Looks like Catra's over here. And we have, oh boy, let's look. We have one of the guys from Mad Max Fury Road, and then we have the goddamn Droogs from A Clockwork Orange. If you had told me 10 years ago that the gang from A Clockwork Orange was going to appear in a Space Jam sequel, I don't know about that one. That's a movie with multiple rape scenes. That's a movie with multiple graphic rape scenes. And they are watching Bugs Bunny and LeBron James play basketball with Scooby-Doo. Weird world, huh? Let me see. The Mask, The Penguin, Men in Black. Jesus. Someone had fun filling out that background.
A lot of people say we're on like phase 4 or phase 5, whatever the fuck it may be. I don't really give a shit. But the next phase is the most important phase. And that's the
Space Jam sequel just has fictional characters in the same world. Yeah, all Warner Brothers properties, it looks like.
Phase you're going to have to be questioned with.
Still waiting on that Space Jam review. Maybe I'll review Space Jam 2.
That is going to be the phase that is going to wake everybody up. When these sleepers, at least, when they say, I thought I had a right. Not all of them, of course, but a majority of them will finally wake up and say, I thought I had a right of what I put inside my body. But you don't have any rights, because now you're being forced to do it.
Chris, there is not a vaccine mandate. I kind of think there should be, but right now there isn't. No one's forcing you to get a vaccine. They probably should, and you definitely should get it to protect yourself, your family, your loved ones, and honestly, everyone else in society. You should. But if you don't want to get it, currently, there's no law that says you have to. However, don't be surprised if you have consequences for that. If there are stores or whatever that say, like, or if you can't ride on a plane without it sometime soon in the future, at least for a while, don't be surprised. You're an adult, Chris. You're older than me. You're probably double my age. You should know that your actions have consequences. Okay? You need to learn that you're allowed to do what you want within the law, but there are social consequences for when you do something that other people deem shitty. Not a hard concept to understand.
And the only way you are going to stand up to do something is to wake other people up.
He does. Cece's married. He has loved ones.
That's bottom line. I don't care. If they are going to force you to put something in your body when we and our Constitution have nothing written inside of there that is said that you have to do something that the higher up says you have to do.
I mean, they kind of do. The Constitution does give legislative power to Congress, and anything not determined by, like, federal Congress gets punted down to the states. So, yeah, you do have to obey the law. The Constitution says that. Sorry.
Especially injection. Nothing.
That's not really what the Constitution says either. The Constitution as a document empowers the government to do certain things, legislate, run courts, run the military. But a lot of the stuff in the Constitution is specific restraints on the government. It basically says the government cannot do this, and that, at least in the amendments, like the Bill of Rights. Like a lot of the articles are about, here's how the government functions, here's how the legislature work, here's how taxes are going to work, more or less. But then a lot of it is, here's what the government can't do. That's not typically how it works. There is an amendment also that says, like, hey, just because it doesn't say it here doesn't mean we can't legislate it later. Like, we have a lot of amendments to the Constitution. And things that aren't legislated by the federal government are within the purview of the states, as long as they don't conflict with the rights laid out in the Constitution. supremacy clause, but also the states have autonomy to a certain extent.
But yet there it is. It's out there, and it's happening. It's coming, okay? You will not be able to go to a baseball game. You will not be able to go...
That would be at the behest of the organization that runs the baseball game. If the MLB decides that you need to have something that says you're vaccinated to go to an MLB game, to go to a Tigers game or a Red Sox game or whatever, then that's within their right to do so. They're a private business.
Going to college. You will not be able to have your kid go to school.
Yeah,
Something...
maybe. That's a public safety issue. It wouldn't surprise me if certain schools in certain states decided to do that.
tells me there's going to be a lot of homeschooling going on in the near future. And if you don't think this is...
Wow, the dumb get dumber. Shocking. Parents who are too stupid to understand that vaccines are good are going to teach their kids to be even dumber than them. That certainly won't have any negative consequences for the future of this country.
is going to happen, that's where we're headed. Okay? That's exactly where we're headed. Civil war? Possibly. Possibly. Because even the sleepers, I don't think, can tolerate this. And if they do, forget it. Then they're done. I don't care. Let them do what they want. Because they're really hopeless. That's one of the main reasons why I have this song under my description. It's a nice Pink Floyd song that should be suitable for the sleepers. Anyway, I wanted to put that out there and just say hi.
It's Hey You.
Because they're really hopeless.
I would have thought his favorite Pink Floyd song was going to be We Don't Need No Education.
That's one of the main reasons why I have this song under my description. It's a nice Pink Floyd song that should be suitable for the sleepers. Anyway, I wanted to put that out there and just say hi to everybody and see how everybody is. Tomorrow's going to be Think About It Friday. Got a couple things I'd like you to think about.
Oh, Cece. Chris is an interesting one. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Chris is not a grifter. Chris is not getting anything monetarily out of this. He's a true believer, and that's pretty sad. Because, boy, is he wrong. Anyway, let's do some bit messages and then we'll check the bingo card.